Live. I'm Kevin Davis here with Paolo Tagliamento. It's already an awesome name. I have to say that from the start. Of all the names of the people I know, it's got to be one of my favorites. It just has that nice Italian flow to it, and well, it goes with a nice Italian guy sitting over here on the screen next to me, my good friend Paolo. He is a world-class violinist. He is a good friend of our family, part of my parish here in Munich, so we know him quite well. And he is a traditional Catholic who's going to share his story of how he became so and how his faith and I suppose his past affects how he plays his music, which I think is to me is very interesting and very inspiring. And I hope that anyone watching or listening will take something from the show. Will maybe also get to hear of music from Paulo today live. I hope that this restream.com is able to handle that, but I think it will, and that would be also a really special treat for anyone watching or listening. So without further ado, Paulo, maybe if you could just start by telling everyone a little bit about yourself. Where do you come from? How did you find the faith? And maybe just wherever you want to go with it.
Yes, good evening to everybody who is listening and who will listen. So I'm a violinist coming from Italy, but living in Munich, or better said, between Munich and Italy, because I often go back home and come back to Munich. So I'm not always in the same place, let's say. And so yes, my way to the true Catholic religion and the faith is quite unusual, probably, even if I met other people and young people that somehow shared or had the same experience, life experience, more or less. Of course, every case is different, every person. Anyway, till now, the biggest part of my life has been not as a real believer, because my conversion was exactly this month, 3 years ago, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe actually, well, 4 years, and then 3 years since I went the first time to the Holy Mass. So let's say, yeah, between 3 years and 4 years. And before, the goal of my life was only and absolutely the music and violin, and success in making music, playing violin. Um, and of course, my conversion and the faith made the the difference in life, and also in the fact of being a musician, and in the goal that I have as a musician, which is not anymore the mere fact of making a great career, but as everybody in every kind of field, to just to like do everything for God's glory, and yes, and only for that, and not for myself. So my life was, before the conversion, was a life spent in Italy till the age of 17, and then I moved to Madrid, Spain, where I lived for 3 years. I've studied in a international private private school, music school, and one of the best institutions of Europe and in the world for classical music. And it was a great experience, and that made me very happy in some ways, because of the achievements and because of the very special situation and the privilege of being there in front of the Royal Palace of Madrid every day. And it was it was quite nice. But at the same time, it was the last time before my conversion that um, meant for me also big uh, pain and suffering in other ways. And as often the suffering leads to uh, lead, brings
Progress.
somebody to God.
Yeah.
So that was, yeah, I could say like that. And before I studied in Italy, I graduated in Milan at Milan Conservatory, and then Madrid, and then I came to Munich in 2017, where I'm still living. I'm still studying, probably concluding this year, but I don't know anyway. Now the situation doesn't allow us to make any kind of big but even little plans. So for now I'm here, and I'm having concerts. Of course, this situation was quite difficult for us musicians, as for many categories, and but it seems to get better. We don't know anyway. We need to hope. Yeah.
Has it improved lately with being able to literally perform in front of larger groups, or is it still pretty small?
Well, both things, let's say. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah. It was.
but it's a struggle.
It's a struggle. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's tough. And how long have you been again going to school or university in Munich?
So the university here, this one is the fifth year of
Okay.
university. So
Wow.
I have been studying. Yes, I did my master degree 2 years ago, and now I'm concluding postgraduate soloist program. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And before in Madrid it was a different kind of thing, and in Milan it was just yeah, regular conservatory. So different things, but yeah,
And so
mainly.
you have to. What does that mean for you when you're studying music? How many hours do you practice a day? This always blows me away.
Well, it depends. It depends. Sometimes I practice very much, like these days, for example, when I have to prepare something quite important, and especially if I have a goal in the next time, let's say in a close time. And otherwise, there are even days when I don't practice. I can allow myself in the last years to take some days or just one day, sometimes of just um, peace and relax, and that helps a lot. That's like practicing, because when your technique is, let's say, at a level that allows you to anyway to do whatever you want, you don't need anymore as a child to be every day there practicing the same amount of time, always the same exercise, which I did in my childhood. My childhood was completely fully dedicated to the violin, so many hours of practicing, of lessons, almost every day. Yeah, practically every day. And now, so I can, if I don't have inspiration at all, I don't practice, because it doesn't bring me anything. So just I need to have the inspiration. It's many things together. I need to be healthy, to feel well physically, spiritually, to have rested enough, to have slept enough, and many things together. And so it's a balance. It's really a balance, and especially mentally and physically, of course. So it seems like, yeah, just playing music, it's nice music, but it's like kind of like being an athlete, so you have to really take care of many details, and violin is a very frustrating instrument because many times it doesn't work, and sometimes when you think you achieved some little thing, something that is technically difficult, then you repeat it after 5 minutes and it's not there anymore, you have to repeat, so you totally lose the hope. And then so it can be really frustrating, and many times in my childhood I thought, no, I quit, I don't want to know. But then of course when you really love it, then you would never quit it. It's like, maybe I shouldn't say that, but it's like faith. Yeah, it's more or less, let's say it's a profane way to say it, but sometimes you feel uh, you wouldn't you don't you can't go on, you don't you almost don't have hope anymore, but then your faith is so strong that you know it will be better afterwards. So
Right, and you can come to the logical conclusion that it's still
of
the
course,
truth, and that's a
yes,
really important thing about our faith, right? That it's, of course, we want to feel it, we want to feel this glorious overflowing of God's grace,
yeah,
and that happens if we're lucky. But most of the time, not right. Most of the time, we have to come to our sense. We have
yeah,
to come with our brain and say it is truth. Thus,
yeah.
I must persevere. Yeah.
And that's a big, very big, a huge change that happened in me when I started to believe, because exactly the use of human reason and logic, because then I thought uh, it's absolutely no problem, no worries if it doesn't work. It's anyway not the goal of life to be whatever, a good musician, a good doctor, a good I don't know driver. It's whatever job. That's not the goal of life. You don't have to be the best. You just need to do your best, but you don't have to be the best. And that's exactly the opposite of what society tells you. So you need to be successful. You need to make a great career. You absolutely have to be the best. If you're not the best in your field, you are anybody. That's destroying. mm, because of course then it's a fight, a battle that never ends. um, it's just an illusion. When you achieve something, that you have a moment of glory, and then again you are in troubles, and so it's never ending. You are frustrated, you get empty, and then it's only about your self-esteem, looking at the mirror, the reflex of yourself always, and so you never have peace. You never have peace, and that was the difference. So I understood that's not the goal. I do my best, and if it doesn't work always, it's no problem. But sometimes it works. So of course, and I'm
But
very
it must
perfectionist.
work more times than others because you're a very successful musician,
Well,
right? So
I'm
you must
very
not have too many issues with it, right?
I'm very perfectionist. I'm never happy, or almost never happy of myself. So I'm the biggest critic of my playing and of myself. So if you ask me if I'm happy, yes, of some things, maybe not many, but of some things I'm happy. I know I did well. Then yes, I always thought, even that's a good mentality to be to never be happy of yourself. I always did like that. Another time, the great difference was that was destroying me, because as I only had this purpose in life, every time that that it didn't work, it was the end of the world. Absolutely the end. So there was no other joy in life, and so it was too much, I was too strict with myself. So on the other way, I learned not to be too strict and to recognize and accept my weaknesses, because we are just nothing for God. And and that gave me great peace as human being, of course, and then as musician, as violinist, because yeah, otherwise I can see even great artists, stars, um that yes, they are amazing, they got huge talents from God, but they struggle so much, and sometimes they have such incredibly tormented lives that I don't want to be like that. I prefer to be nobody, but to have peace in my heart, and to make music eventually only for friends. Then there is a little problem of getting some bread for dinner, which is
You better have some good friends, huh?
yes. So it's good to have good friends in that sense. Yeah, but anyway, anyway, yes, it's a
And so
balance.
and so if if the faith in your it really affects your general mindset, which I think is I mean that definitely makes sense and is right. Does it affect when you're literally up performing music? You're literally up performing a song or a piece. Does has that changed your mindset of how you think while you're actually doing it with your now your traditional faith, which is fairly new?
Yes, I will say, as everything comes from faith, then yes, the influence is from faith to music, of course. So in this sense, that was you meant, no?
Right.
The relation between, and yes, I think the spirit with which I face the music is absolutely different, and even I don't find the perfection, and with there isn't perfection on earth, so it's absolutely impossible. But even something doesn't go as I want during a concert, for example, then I still keep, and that's again the big, extremely important thing of the human logic and human reason, or spiritual reason. Anyway, it comes from the faith too, but anyway, it's a natural fact. So I, even something doesn't go well with the uh, with the reason, uh, I would say cool reason, I think it's no problem, because anyway, the important thing is if I gave everything for God, and to God, and for His glory. And then in this sense, because we love God for people, for love for people, and to make people happy, in the sense to bring joy and love. So anyway, that's the most important thing in whatever we do. We are just full of imperfections, um, and I would say the imperfections dominate, or are more important than our uh, perfections, that or better sides of ourselves. So if you wouldn't think like that, then it would be absolutely impossible to go on, because but yeah, this modern society tells you um, it's still everything about now and here and this moment, and it's just an illusion, because you see people, they just look happy, or they try to look happy, or they just give an image. And nowadays we know it's all about image, social medias, and so one would think it's just a big mistake, a big how do you say, like, big trick, that you believe it's true. It's not true. At the end, at the end of the day, when you go sleep, then you are not happy. And I can tell it, because I absolutely know the world. I lived in the world, um, with the world, and so I know what it means. And of course, I wished I would have had from the beginning of my life um, a Catholic instruction, and um, yes, let's say Catholic faith from the beginning, doctrine. Uh, but of course, we know that God gave us what we needed to come to Him. So, and in the time, it was good for us. So that
And what
means,
was it? What was it that brought you? What was there an aha moment, or something that brought you from being of the world to being more, yeah, Catholic?
well, many things, and some in particular, or one or two in particular, which I'm not saying because it's very private, but anyway, uh, the pain. I can say the pain. The pain can be of many things, but it's the pain and suffering, and big suffering, and so this suffering um, needs an answer and a solution that you can't find in anything in this world. And that was my way, and it happened suddenly, but after some years, or let's say a relative long time of search for God, let's say. Yes, because anyway, even in my childhood, I remember somehow I felt attracted by God, by the church. And even I can remember probably the few times I went to the mass, well, the non-mass, the modern mass, and I was probably feeling kind of, yes, I would like, but somehow it's strange, it doesn't. So there was probably kind of this feeling. And anyway, the conversion was something very sudden. Yeah, absolutely sudden. Yeah, it's from day to night. Sorry, contrary, from night to day. And yes, from darkness to light. So yeah, that's why I think even in these times, it's not, as Catholics, is it doesn't make sense, or it's not good, or it would be stupid, let's say, somehow, it's not the best word, but to lose the hope, because that's how God works. We can't know and see the future. So it can be like this. It can be in 1 second, God can destroy uh, this big castle of paper that human created in the last times, in the last centuries, in the last decades. And in one day, it can be again like super glorious and better than before, remembering. remembering Fatima, about the prophecy. And so, yeah, it doesn't make sense to get desperate and to yeah. Of course, it's difficult because we are human beings. We are weak, and yeah, and we should be in a good way preoccupied, and yes, and
But
try to
as you say, though, that happiness, I think the hope and the happiness, which you mentioned before, I think that's really interesting that you say it's not really found in God. And Father Heine is actually staying with us these last few days, and we've had that same conversation of, you see so much misery in the world, and you have the COVID stuff, and you have issues with the government, and da 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 da, and so many unhappy people who walk around, and I see it in their eyes. You see
yes,
the unhappiness. You see people turning to drink and drugs and all
yeah,
sorts
yeah,
of terrible things because they don't, as you say, if that paper castle collapses, they have nothing. There is no base. There's no security of knowing that we have eternity. We have God, and that's a beautiful thing that, as you say, that we have, and that we need to appreciate as Catholics. That even if we don't always feel it, we don't have that spirit of the rays of light shining on us. We still know that is the bedrock of our lives, of our
yes,
everything we do.
yes, yes. People are sad, and the global situation is really a big tragedy. We have to say it. It's if you look at the situation of the church, and the fact of around 1 billion Christians uh, lost the way, more or less. So it's a real tragedy, and even in this case, looked with our eyes, human eyes, it's impossible to be understood. It's a big mystery. And what I think, we need, it's difficult for us because we need to first of all think of our salvation, personal salvation, but at the same time we can't close ourselves in our, how do you say, like ivory
Tower, yeah,
tower
right.
or castle, yeah,
Yeah, right.
and just think that the world, yeah, we just stay closed in our rooms, which is good because we need to every night come back to our room and meditate and pray in the silence. At least I think that's something that I need more and more every day in this situation, and switch off all kind of, well, we, most of us don't have television, or anyway try to not pay attention, not listen to news too much, or get, we have to get informed, of course, about how the situation is going, but in a healthy way. And but yeah, I think we need to act as Catholics. We can't just think, yes, okay, we on Sunday we go to mass and we pray, and that's it. I don't think it's enough in this time.
And so
It's
how
difficult.
do you think, and I agree with you. So what are ways that we literally can act as Catholics?
Uh,
What do you think?
we need to start from our next, which in the Catholic sense doesn't mean our next in like in far, like on the other side of the ocean, not because we don't care of people on the other side of the ocean or whatever, but our next is, yeah, our families, our close friends, people who don't believe. And so, yeah, begin from our families and our friends, and try to, yeah, of course it's not us, it's always God that acts throughout us, but we need to act and try to convince, not to convince, to bring the, to give an example, first of all, that's the main thing, and then to eventually to do what we can. It's difficult, but we should try. I mean, it's really I don't think as Catholics it's enough to see it and be comfortable, because the life of a Catholic is not comfortable, should not be comfortable. Otherwise, it's not a war and it's not a battle every day. So we need to act, and of course, prayers are the first thing, because it's the most important thing. Through prayers, everything can happen. But yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to find the balance, to find the words, to find the moments, to find the situations. And sometimes we can make errors. We can say too much, not in the best way. So we need to pray about that. How to speak to people, how to get in connection with our close friends or people in general, family. And so it's difficult, but I think it's absolutely
Yeah, and don't be
worth trying.
afraid of showing your faith. And I think that's something that for some reason many
Yes.
traditional Catholics have, that fear of like people are going to look down on me, which first of all, who
Yeah,
cares? We shouldn't care. But it's also wrong. It's also wrong. I mean, at least in my
yeah,
experience, when I was an English teacher for a few years, and for a while I didn't bring up faith religion at all. Honestly, I really didn't. I just didn't want to bring it up, didn't want to have that headache. And eventually it did. I just kind of brought it up and told people, okay, hey, what am I doing? They'd ask, what am I doing this weekend? I'm like, well, I'm going to go to church and I'm going to spend time at church and I'm going to, and they respected it. People almost always are like, wow, you have values. You believe in something, because so
yes,
many people these days don't believe in anything. They have nothing to believe in. And even if they have a religion, there's nothing to actually there's nothing to grip onto. It's just like this,
yeah,
kind of Jesus is good. It's like, well, yeah, that's true, but what does that do to affect your everyday life and beliefs? And we have that, and as you say, it's not easy because it's against our instinct in many ways. But once you
it's
fight against it, and once you show our faith, you feel better too. It's a good feeling.
yes, but it's comprehensible if somebody gets let's say scared of just of showing his faith and say clearly things, and especially yeah show other people to other people that that he's Catholic. I mean, true Catholic. And I can understand, because even for me it's sometimes difficult. It's I think I improved in that sense, but still, yes, that's of course it's human respect, or I don't know if it's said like that in English, but anyway, uh, it's quite important. It's a big battle for us, just to really get rid of that um, human respect, of that fear of being judged, of how do you say, offend somebody with our
Well, and we don't know. I mean, these people who are non-Catholics, we don't know how many chances of God's grace they're gonna have in their entire lives of
course.
actually literally having given that. And we know God will give them the chance. We know that for absolute certain, but we don't know how. We don't know when, and we don't know if it's us. We may be that one chance that they have of literally just that one moment of seeing that someone they like or respect or even don't even know cares about the Catholic faith, and it has the faith, and even if you're not going and preaching in their, in their face and saying, you must believe, Sede Vacante and all these deeper issues. But if you just start by just being open and honest and showing that you love it, you know, that it is important to you. I think that can really change. It
It's,
really can change someone's mindset.
of course, it would be such a big regret if we would know that it was our opportunity and we could have changed somebody.
For sure.
It would be a big regret. So yeah, it's not. It's of course it's not. Especially if you are the only one in your family, or if the people who are around you and whom you work with, for example, are not Catholic, or if you are, yeah, then you would be scared of just get criticized, like to get an etiquette as a extremist or integralist. Actually, we are integralists because we believe in the integrity of faith. So, but especially extremist and crazy and people who need a good doctor, good psychiatrist. So yeah, yeah, scare of being judged, of scare of spoil your friendships, your connections, your of lose opportunities of many things. It's not easy, and I think even in that case, as for everything, prayers are the most powerful thing, because and then step by step, then I think everything is possible. And I can testimony it, because we can't anyway pretend that, or yeah, that everything comes at once. It's difficult, and sometimes it's not good, because we could shock people, which is, I remember one of the first things that I learned after my conversion is that you conquer souls um, on knees, so on your knees. So that means, yeah, that's the way. And often we make the mistake of being of judging people. We can't judge people because only God judge people, but of course we can judge the what we see externally, like, yeah, the facts, and somehow we have to give a judgment, because otherwise we would be relativists. But yeah, so it's very difficult to try to just say things in a way that is very gentle way, and full of charity, but at the same time to show people what is good and what is wrong, without
Right.
making them feel that they making them feel judged for that. Because yeah, I know, I experienced also those things, and it's not easy. But yeah, life is not easy anyway. So
No, it's true. But I mean, and it's something like kind of a little off topic, but what we talked about in our podcast a couple of weeks ago that you were a part of, about the what we wear matters. And I think that that's part of this topic in a way, that it's, you know, the way we act, the way we dress, the way we speak, the way we smile. And that sounds ridiculous, but also loving and living our lives fully as Catholics is important, because otherwise, as you say, people see us as these, people who are whipping themselves in the back, and extremists, and miserable, and that's just not true. And I mean, look at our parish here near Munich, and you have some of the most fun loving people I've ever met, and funny people, and
yeah,
that's a beautiful thing. And I think you see the growth of the parish, and I think part of that is because people come and visit our parish, and they see a living parish, and people who live and are happy people, but truly have their faith, and love God, and live their faith. And I think that's another easy thing to overstep. That, it's a hard thing to balance, okay, living a normal life and being a fairly normal person, but also having very strong convictions and beliefs. But I think again, go watch this podcast we had a couple of weeks ago about fashion, because it's actually more important than you think. As you see, Paolo dressed very nicely today, and I can say that Paolo and Christian, who was also on the show, have affected the way I dress and the way other guys I know dress, and so it just shows you the domino effect of the way we act. It really really matters, and it's incredible to see.
It's a good word. It's a chain reaction, which is very powerful because if I came to this point, it's because of a domino reaction. Actually, well, it's because of God, but anyway, people act, and Catholic have to act again. So uh, that's why it's so important to not to just close the door and try to defend ourselves from the terrible world that is outside, because anyway it comes the moment that we have to open the door and go outside to get our food, to get so it
Exactly.
doesn't yeah, we can't just uh, live in a bubble. We
Right.
have to, it's difficult. So this battle is a priority for us, I think. Yeah, absolutely, especially in these times, always, but always more, because we are seeing how the situation is going, yeah, and sinking.
Well, as they say, be in the world but not of the world, and I think that that's
No,
really true. And I think that
that's
it's also true that, again, as we've talked about at the beginning, is finding a way to keep the happiness and not getting too involved with the world, because the world's always a mess. I mean, it is a mess now, absolutely, and it's more than when you and I were growing up. I mean, at least it seems to be
yeah, yeah,
so. But look back in the 1930s and 40s. Look at the French Revolution. These things are cyclical. These things, the
of
world
course,
goes in chaos. Goes in a circle, and that's just how it works. And we're in
yes,
a point where it looks to be headed down. But either way, what are we supposed to? The only thing we do is the best we can do, right? I mean, we have to try
of
our
course,
best
yes,
to make it through it, and to have good friends. And as you said, I think you said something really important. And I'm actually going to have a show about getting rid of addiction to our phones, or our cell phones, and social media and whatnot, because I think that's a really important topic, because this is a really good trick of the devil, and it happens to me that you can't stand silence. The silence of meditation and prayer. Literally, your brain being empty with only your thoughts and God,
no,
and it's scary, and it scares people, and even me, it totally does. And so that the silence with God and with my own conscience, I suppose, or my own consciousness, it's scary. And so I turn on YouTube, or I look at social media, and it distracts you from God.
well, that's a quite interesting and important point. Coming back to music, because we are also here to speak about this relation between music and faith, and I have to see this is for me now absolutely a central point of my everyday routine and in general of my life. Um, and that's what I need. I always needed that because as a free musician, musicians need a certain quietness, silence, in order to be able to, yeah, meditate, get inspirations from the nature also. So it can be either in your at home, your house, or going outside and walking. So I used to walk. I still use to. Now it's winter, so it's too cold to go walk. But anyway, I used to make long walks when I was living here in Munich, very close to the Nymphenburg Castle. It's a beautiful place, wonderful. So I was going almost every day, and big composers used to do that. For example, Beethoven, he used to have very long walks, and to get this inspiration. And but more than that, yes, this the power of silence, and because in the silence God speaks and not you. And many things can be understood better, or maybe only in the silence. Many things that I couldn't understand before, or that I could only understand on a, let's say, superficial level, or just on a words level. So just okay, I understand the words, but I can't like inner um, um, deeply understand them, and experience them, and understand with my heart, because and can and feel this, and feel this, and feel them in really as like burning truth, or yeah. And so the silence and the meditation are in this sense extremely important. And for me especially, yeah, for my music, and I think it's probably the most important thing. Then it depends which kind of relation you have with music. If you are just an orchestra player, which it doesn't mean you can't be a good player, you can't be an excellent player and instrumentalist, but somehow you have more kind of regular routine, so you can't really spend so much time on philosophy, let's say. I have this have to say, I'm I feel so lucky to have this privilege of being able to dedicate so much time to my, yeah, spiritual and spiritual growth. So um, and to the meditation, and to just inspiration, yeah. So that's a good advantage of my job of being soloist. And then of course there are other big weak points in this job, and of course there is no perfection anyway. um, I I'm experiencing more and more the importance of the spirituality in music. And because music is somehow, I mean, we are speaking about the so-called classical music, or let's say the cultivated music, or high music, in the sense of the deep music, not just mm, like light songs. And the great music, let's say, let's speak for example about, I don't know, Beethoven symphonies, or um, is somehow sacred music, as a, if it's the good word for it, let's say. Because even Beethoven used to, he was not really probably Catholic in his life, but anyway, probably he converted at the end of, I don't know, but at some point he started to, anyway. uh, his symphonies, for example, or let's take Mozart or whatever, you can find, you can say that there is a high spirituality in those works. And of course the and high, and there is a deep, how do you say in English, big introspection, if it's right,
Yeah, yeah.
introspection of the spirit, of the, yeah, of this spirituality of spirituality of our souls. So yes, for me, as a music, for me means everything. uh, about this terrestrial life. Of course, then God is the all important thing, but I think I couldn't be feel peaceful without music, because for me it's the after prayers and sacraments, and what is the most important, it's biggest and probably the only mean of peace for my soul, and it really brings me in another dimension. So
And
yes.
why do you think that modern music almost never has that now? What is that because of modernism? Is that since Luther? I mean, what changed this whole aspect? I guess not Luther, because you had Mozart and everyone was later than him, obviously. But what is it that makes it so that there's so little beauty in modern music? And I really, I would say objectively, there's little beauty. You can find things that are entertaining, things that are upbeat and maybe occasionally
Yes.
uplifting, but not much beauty.
You mean in the modern music?
Right.
Well, it's of course it's not uh, deniable that there has been a huge not only decadence in the last century, but also total destruction of arts in general. Because last century was the century of pain, because of the two world wars, because of many things, especially the wars, but not only. Well, every century had huge dramas, but especially last century it was really terrible in this sense. And these terrible events influenced, of course, arts and in general probably all societies. And together with these distractions, uh, uh, we have seen the let's say the deep development of just way of living that was more kind of having fun and very superficial and very so till nowadays, when we see that life for most of the people doesn't have any kind of deep, even natural sense. It's just about it's like a game. It's like a game, more or less. Yeah. So in this sense, also music started to be just a mean of entertainment, and then it become from a mean of entertainment it become a mean of perversion, because now we can't about the new productions, very, let's say, they're very, yeah, modern and how do you say, of yeah, like contemporary productions of nowadays. It's just the perversion. I'm speaking about the world of, pop music and all those kind of genders, like I don't know rock.
Rap
There
or
is no
rock and
rock anymore
roll.
almost, but
Yeah.
anyway, this kind of heavy metal, whatever it is.
Hmm.
We still have folk music, which is a classical music, we can say, because folk music belongs to the tradition of different countries. So, but even folk music got modernized in some way, because the instruments sometimes are modern instruments that are not anymore genuine, let's say, not anymore authentic. They are kind of, yeah, the kind of more, yes, how can I say more, there is more, it's more about technology. It's like Because I
And volume. And I
volume
see that
and
when I rarely watch TV, but sometimes I watch football games with commercials, and it's really an incredible thing because I really almost never watch, and so it's new kind of for me. And so when you watch TV and it's fresh for you, the commercials are so loud, like literally
yeah,
everything, the colors, the music, the words, everything is just is like a drum beating in, right in your face. It's pretty crazy. It's just this ah.
yeah, and we should understand this factor of um, this like bombing that comes from the society through many things, but especially through television and social medias and music in public places like bars, restaurants, like that. This has a huge influence in our souls. We can't. It's absolutely. Um, it's absolutely powerful, this effect, and I am a test, a witness of this influence, because especially because I'm a musician, and because I always suffered, even when I was a child, always suffered about uh, um, bad music, um, even in general, bad speaking, bad images, something like that. Somehow, I don't know, it was my sensibility anyway. Always more, and especially after my conversion, I understood how this world of this modern society, that has of course the means, the technological means to do that, because before it was not possible, and how this society can really lead you. You don't, you are a victim. You don't, you think you are boss of yourself, but you're not. You're absolutely influenced, not only by music, and but by other arts, I don't know, and in any case the visual parts, and yeah, like yeah, mm, yes, and sounds, but especially, yeah, let's speak about, I don't know, yeah, publicities, for example. You walk on the street, or yeah, in the city, whatever, underground, and then you get so many bad publicities with bad images, and that's really strong and powerful.
And they're really tricky about it too sometimes. Like a good example that I've seen recently is the singer Adele, who I'm sure you've heard of, and she's one of the most popular singers for the last, I don't even know, 10 years now, 5 years. And I think, and I know for sure that there are plenty of young women, even traditional young women, that like her and listen to her. She's kind of this bigger gal, and she's got a nice voice in general. She can sing well. And I think she's kind of had sometimes the people think of her as being a little more family friendly. Let's just say not always, but that's my impression. She's not like one of these crazy Lady Gaga type singers. But I just saw last week sometime. I saw the name of one of her songs, and excuse this, truly, yeah, I won't say it, but the name of the song is God's name in vain. Literally, that it's oh my, it's God's name in vain. That's the title. And so I'm like, okay, and it just made me think, okay, I'm gonna go see what the song is about. And so I went and read the lyrics, and it's really one of the worst songs you can imagine. It's just it's so unbelievably evil. It's just directly, openly, First of all, the name of it is God's name in vain, and then the lyrics are saying how, I mean, doing all these terrible things and being happy about it. I mean, awful. I mean, truly, Paulo. I mean, like, you can't even believe how bad it is. It's incredible. And this is from a singer who's supposed to be fairly kind of, mild. It's nuts. And anyone who listens to this stuff, don't just think about what's going on in your soul, how it's affecting you. You got to think about your kids. Your kids are listening to this stuff, and if
Yes,
they
everybody.
listen to one Adele song, why not go onto YouTube and watch this trash where they're half naked and they're singing just garbage? It's unbelievable.
It's this system. It's so well constructed, so well organized, that if we have a global look at it, it's really an amazing masterpiece, because then one could say it's not a plan, it's just a coincidence. But then we can't believe in coincidence as Catholics, because there is no coincidence. And it's really a way of this modern world, of this satanic, we have to say, society, to, with all possible means, that means all possible means, not just some things that can be that can influence people's life, with all means, to lead you to the, yeah let's say, to hell, in this sense. But to lose the faith, to, or not to look for God, at least. Then we can open again, we can have another conversation about this, about music, and about the what is true art, what is not true art, what is how
Well,
can we.
and I think I really think, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think that if someone who likes Adele and listens to Adele and realizes, hey, this is just bad stuff, it's trash, it's absolute garbage, and it's from the devil. I mean, it's from the devil. I'm sorry, it's from the
Yes,
devil. And if they took one day even and listened to Mozart or Palestrina, I just think, I mean, I understand you have this idea that it's your grandma's music or it's church music and it's boring, but you will have a different feeling in your soul even if you listen to this stuff compared to if you listen to rock and roll. And again, I listened to rock and roll for
well,
10
rock
years,
and
you know.
roll is absolutely satanic. There is one association or foundation in Italy, in Rome, that studies exactly the correspondence or the connection between Satanism and rock music. So that rock music is absolutely satanic. And
There are some rock musicians that come out and say that they do curses, you know, they put curses in satanic worshiping in their music.
yes,
It's
but
nuts.
you can use, they can be a part of truth in everything. Of course, people who sing rock can sing in tune and intonated, and can study singing, and can study, of course that can be, but it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't mean anything. It means, it doesn't change the fact that the goal of that music, which is not music, is a bad goal. And so then there would be, we would open the discussion about how to um, understand what is true art, what is nice art and true art, and what is not. That's I mean, I have some answers for that. I don't pretend to have like the truth, but I think it's quite what I think it's quite logical, and actually it's not my opinion, it's something that belongs to the logic, and yes, and to the human reason. And so, but and I think also this need of music as entertainment, it's very typical of us modern people. Even we are Catholic and traditionalist in the tradition, it doesn't mean we are still modern people. We are not. So the modern um, person is absolutely different, like in his being, and in her being, and in her structure, mental structure, uh, absolutely different from, let's say, from the not antique, but from the from people of the tradition of the past. So we have a absolutely different mental structure, different mentality, different um, way of live our lives. We can't compare. And one particular thing that that characterizes us, let's say, as in general, as modern people, is the fact of take. Well, we are different, of course, as Catholics, but the fact of take life as a game, as a game. So that's called in Latin the homo ludens, the person who plays, who is playing, who is. So this need of entertainment, yeah, I need to something to entertain myself. There was not this need. Yes, there was in the past, but not in this way of. Now it's more about superficiality, and so that's a big difference. And before there was not this need of of just always be entertained by something else. there
Right.
were
So
there were
there was more
moments
depth to it.
for yeah, moments for entertainment, but then life was serious, a serious matter. And now it's more, yeah, let's not be too serious, but life is mainly a serious thing. It's, and actually not only serious but also very difficult and sad, joyful because of we have God, but it's not. It's a cross, so we have to take it as a cross, not as a, okay, I'm going to the bar and have some nice pop music because I want. Yeah, it's I don't know, at least it's not my set mental set
So,
anymore,
so
maybe
I've got a question for you then, because I did a podcast about this. I don't know if you listened to it with Matthew Arthur, and I know he's a good friend of yours too. The Arthurs are, at least, that about the devolution of music, how it's gone downwards since the Middle Ages, and that's of course obviously our opinion. And now my
it's
opinion is that in like the 12th or 13th century, or 1200s, 1300s, somewhere around there, the music primarily that has been passed down obviously was written for God. I mean, this is Gregorian chant. This is, your some
yeah.
of your higher, literally, church music. And then I guess by Mozart, it's still extremely beautiful art, but definitely not all that's written for God. So my question for you is, when do you think was the peak of music that at least that has been passed down to us? If you can answer that,
that,
I don't know.
that requires a quite big answer. It's quite a big
Right.
it's quite a big topic, a big subject. I think we would need more time for that because I thought about that many times, and there is not really a precise answer, but I think we can somehow distinguish and analyze some process that have happened in the history during the centuries, and somehow there is a part of mystery in it that we can not understand. But I think that would take some time because it's very hard. Of course, somebody is very drastic and say from here to here, from till this point in the history, there was good music, and then from that point till nowadays, we can throw everything in the trash. It's not exactly like that. I think that's.
Right. I mean, someone right now could write a beautiful
But
piece of music,
there
of course.
was a peak. I think there was a peak, probably a quite long peak. That's, I mean, I have some ideas about that, but it really takes some time too. I don't know if you want, we can do it, but probably now after 1 hour, I don't know if it's time.
It's actually a really good point. I think we should save that for another show. Maybe we'll do that another time, because I think it's unbelievably fascinating, because I really see the
Yes.
connection with culture and music, and really you see the change in how it goes from, again, you making music for God, and then making music for beauty, and now making music for entertainment. And it's a really interesting study
Yes, it's
of
absolutely, it's the
humanity,
point.
almost.
It's the point, and especially in this time, I'm really um let's say interested in that or more. I'm really thinking about that, and I'm reading a very interesting book interesting for me. Of course, for other people it will be just a loss of time because, but as it's my job and it's my life, yeah, it means a lot for me. And it's a book written in Italian. Probably there is only in Italian, and it's called Divertimenti per Dio. So like amusement, kind of entertainments in the good sense for God. The relation between Mozart and his religious music, church music, and about how about if we can tell, what can we tell from his music, religious music, about his spirituality, and if his music reflects um, um, his spirituality and his faith, or if it's just a matter of an aesthetical matter. Well, it's quite complex theme. It's very interesting because yes, I mean, I focus on music, and especially I'm now very interested about trying to understand what the composers um, felt, and if they had a relation with God. But even they didn't have, they weren't Catholic during their lives. Still, in general, always speaking about classical music, you always find a logical structure, true harmony, true values. So truth never lies. Lies can be in the content of words, of I don't know, just stories, whatever, if it's opera, but uh, the music itself is true. It's not a lie. That's more maybe a philosophical discussion, but not really, because then it affects many things, and it affects now our lives also, because we live now. We can't just be always in silence, because we need music also in our, in just, even if sometimes, but we need some good music, because it helps people to just switch off the mind, and yeah, and try to relax, and we are human beings.
Well, and as you said, God is truth, and truth is, connected with God, and you see that in nature, you see it in architecture, you see it in, and you see how the Novus Ordo, how the new church, the new Catholic Church has done everything they can to ruin that. The churches they build are objectively ugly, and you can't tell me otherwise.
Objectively
Yeah, they're
terrible.
objectively they're awful. They don't look good, and I don't care who you are. You may say, yeah, I like it, but it's not. You cannot say it's beautiful. You just can't objectively. You can't. And it's the
Yeah,
same with the
yeah.
music. If you listen to the modern church music, there's always something just a little off. And I don't know how much you listen to choral, Palestrina type music. I imagine you're probably more classical, but I'm no music expert, but you can hear it. You hear it even change in the beginning of the 20th century strongly.
No,
It's
you
pretty
know,
incredible to listen to.
that's why it's so important, this aspect of external, let's say, influences. It has a technical name. All these, like the what all these aspects of external life, or in the society, tendencies, they are called the tendencies. Music is one of those tendencies. um, and this factor of music determined also a big loss um, sorry, I don't have the word now, gläubige,
Faith,
yeah,
belief,
because
yeah. Hmm.
of believers. Sorry, no, I switch sometimes to German.
No worries. Yeah.
um, a big loss, because some people told me I left the church. I was going to church. I left when I started to hear guitar in the church. So that means a lot.
Yeah, again, and it's so true. There is an
Even people,
objective beauty or an objective ugliness to a
yeah,
point, and it's hard to. It's not super easy to find that point, but sometimes it is.
yeah,
Sometimes it's
but
like,
sometimes it's
nope,
really a factor that
yeah,
determines a
yep,
break,
yep,
because in general people didn't understand, like couldn't understand the, the important changements in the mass. Well, just the complete the revolution in the mass. But of course, more likely they would get influenced by other factors. And I heard of some people, and for sure there are many, that because of those things left the church. And some of them resisted and stayed, but suffering a lot also because of those things, because they don't even, even my grandma told me, you know it was so different before. When you went in into a church, you could feel the spirituality and the sacrality, and now you don't feel. They are just cold walls, cold rooms, in which you don't find anything. No, you find actually the desolation of the soul. So that's all.
true, yep.
That's all.
No, I think it's a boy. We definitely have to do another podcast about
Yeah,
music
it will
philosophy, the
will
philosophy of
take
music, I
some
guess, because
time.
it's wow, yeah,
It will take some time. That maybe not everybody are interested in such a deep, yes, analyze of these things about. But anyway, it's I think it's, yeah, it's really interesting. At
but
least
I
for,
think. Yeah, for sure. I mean, anyway, these podcasts, as long as I find it interesting, as long as whoever watches. I mean, that's the nice thing
yeah,
for me. That it's just for me, it's
yeah,
a nice conversation, and if other people enjoy it too, then that's great. But if not, I still had a nice conversation, and it's a brilliant topic, I think. And I think we would both say that anyone watching this or listening to this, go out and really, I truly mean this. Go out and just give it a week. Don't listen to rock. Don't listen to modern music. Give Mozart a shot, give Palestrina a shot, and just really stick with it. I guarantee you're going to feel different. You're going to feel more uplifted. You're just going to feel better. I think even physically, I really mean it. I think that the adrenaline and stuff that we get from modern music, it's like everything modern. It's short lived. It's not long lasting. It's like it's almost it's not what we actually deep down need. And these other forms of music, I think will hopefully, I mean, help. They help. I think we can say that for sure. Oh, and I just lost Paolo. So I will get him back in because I want Paolo before he leaves to play us a little bit of something on his violin, because you'll get a little chance to see how brilliant he really is at what he does. It's a funny story with Paolo. I didn't say this at the beginning, that when I first heard about him coming to our little parish here in Munich, I heard that there's this Italian guy who goes to university or goes to college studying violin, and I thought, okay, that's nice, I've heard of other people who go and study music, right? So I'm sure that he's good, and then we got invited to watch him play as a soloist at a castle outside of Munich, and I went and saw it. And I remember in one of the pamphlets, or a pamphlet, whatever they call it, the show notes. I don't know anything about music, guys. Sorry. The little paper we got, it said something about how he has a recognition from the Queen of Spain, when I believe Paolo was pretty young. I think maybe, I don't remember, 11 or 12. I would ask him once he comes back on. But that then it kind of opened my eyes to, okay, Paolo is a fairly serious musician. So I lost you there for a second, Paolo, but we got you back. I was telling the story about how
I don't.
I first heard about you. Do you hear me?
I
Do you hear me? You back? I see you.
Now I
You're
hear you. I think there was some kind of demon that tried to
probably so. Yeah.
interrupt this
They didn't want us talking bad about rock and roll, huh?
conversation. But I don't. I unfortunately don't listen and don't hear you well. It's interrupted.
It's a little choppy on your side too. Yeah. I wonder if that's it could be me. I hope not.
We can do it. It's not working.
Let me see. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna kick you out and I'll bring you back in. I think it looks like we gotta. Okay, and there he goes completely. Oh boy, these are the issues with live streams. Okay, I got Paolo back. Your connection looks good. It's kind of strange, Paolo. It looks good. Do you see me now? Better?
Now I hear you well, because it was, yeah. Now it's just your image is.
It's frozen. Okay, yeah.
moving.
Yours is slow too.
Yeah, now it's moving. Yeah.
Better.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
no, all good. It may be my side too. Well, I'd like to say hi to,
Yeah.
to Boyd, Elliott, and Father
I hope-
Borja in Omaha. So thanks you guys for watching.
Anyway.
Oh, I lost you again, Paolo. Well, Paolo, why don't you get your violin ready? I know you were ready to play something for us earlier on. Could you get that ready, and I'll try to work out the connection issues, and then you can play to end this show. We'll do it.
Yes,
we'll do another one.
That'd
be awesome if you could play us something. Let's see if we can get Paolo's connection issues worked out here. It worked for the entire show until just now. Thank you for anyone who's stuck with us for an hour 20.
It's there.
All right, I got you back, Paolo. What are you playing for us, Paolo?
Yes, so I played a little piece by Fritz Chrysler, legendary violinist, composer, Austrian, that became a world star, and I think he was Catholic, because in that time in Austria, more likely, and he composed many pieces for violin, and in a very beautiful Viennese style. So it's a kind of salon. Rosemary, so beautiful, or beautiful rosemary. So it's a young place.
I hope the connection works.
I don't hear you. I don't know if you hear me. Yeah.
It's a pretty bad connection, but I hear you. Yeah, go ahead and give it a shot. Let's hope it works.
Here, that's yeah.
Oh no! Paolo, we lost you. Oh man. Of course, right when we get to the best part, like we shut up and he starts playing something nice and it turns off. Here we go.
I think.
Nice. We lost you for a minute, but
I
what we
think
heard
you
sounded good.
maybe something, but
Sounded good. Well, next time we're gonna get you on again. We're gonna talk about music
for sure there is
philosophy,
some kind
and
of
you can.
bad.
Oh, I'm totally losing you, Paolo. Paolo, I think we're gonna have to quit it because the connection's really terrible. But I really enjoyed the chat. I'm glad that we were able to, since the connection is now so bad. And we'll definitely have you on again to talk music philosophy, and hopefully you can play something with a better connection. Awesome. Paolo, I will see you on Sunday.
Yes. So good.
Thanks again.
It was a pleasure. And yeah.
God bless.
Bye.
Thank you.